Fred Williamson went from defensive back to leading man in Hollywood.
He was bold. He was fast. He is the Hammer. And before he ever stepped in front of a camera, Fred Williamson was already a showman on the field, a man built for the spotlight. Fred Williamson didn't even start with football. Born in Gary, Indiana, he was a track star first, blazing past the competition, earning himself a scholarship to Northwestern University. But speed wasn't his only gift. His build, his intensity, and his swagger didn't go unnoticed. The head football coach saw something and recruited him to suit up for the Wildcats.
I went to Northwestern on a track scholarship. Fortunately, the coach was Eric Parshigian. So we practicing. You had this guy down here. He was 200 pounds. Was running 100 like 9.4, 9.5. Throwing a shot put 56, 57 feet. So he comes to me and he says, "You ever played football before?" I said, "I played some form of football." He said, "We ever thought about playing football?" I said, "Oh, no. Why should I? I got a full scholarship here." He said, "What are you getting?" I said, "I'm getting blah, blah, blah." He said, "Oh, we'll double that. And we'll throw in a car and we'll throw in an apartment for you." I said, "What? You do what?" I'm there. Became a football player. So he made me a flanker, catching the ball. That's what I was. I was an All-American flanker back, catching the ball.
A sophomore standout for the Wildcats, their passing quarterback John Talley, number 25. Throwing, and another sophomore, and Fred Williamson making the catch. This is the senior, Bob McKeever, for a perfect handoff man. He gets good blocking. And against the Michigan Wolverines, McKeever is gone for a touchdown.
Passing game leaving little to be desired. Again, this time to Fred Williamson for 16, and Northwestern threatens to tie it up again. Then in the second quarter, Northwestern unleashes an awesome attack. First, Thornton pitches to Fred Williamson, who gets inside the Wolverine 15. Rolled right. Threw a strike again to Williamson, who is dropped just short of 6 points.
Fred became a two-way end, offensive and defensive, and even made his mark on special teams. The man was everywhere.
One summer, I decided to take football. I didn't really want to play football. I worry about my face, worry about getting hit. I didn't want to be a football player, man. But I knew my parents couldn't afford me to go to college. So I said, okay, I'll go play football. But the best way for me not to get hurt is to do unto others before they do unto you.
After his college career, the San Francisco 49ers gave him a shot in 1960. However, he was met with a challenge, an eye-opener to his football career. His days on offense would be no more, as he would be moved to defense to play a position he never played before. He would use this to his advantage. He turned the challenge into fuel, and out of that fire, the hammer was born.
First day in camp, the 49ers, they gave me a red shirt. I said, wow, that means I'm special, right? I'm something different. He said, no, son, you're gonna play defensive back. I said, what do you mean defensive? Don't you know who I am? I'm Speedy. That's my nickname in college, Speedy. You want me to be defensive back? I can't cover anybody. I don't know how to do that. My first victim was R.C. Owens, all pro. I get about 2 feet away from him, and I could tell you what he had for breakfast. Coach's Red Hickey says, God damn it, Williamson, get back. He's gonna make you look stupid. I said, shut up and hike the ball. So they hiked the ball, and R.C. made one of those cute moves, fast receivers kind of do. I knocked him out. Red Hickey runs over and says, God damn it, Williamson, what you doing? I said, I covered him. He said, get back, stop hammering my players so I could get some pass offense in. That's how I got the name Hammer.
Then came a trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers. It was a new city, still the same hammer.
They traded me to make room for Ray Norton. Ray Norton was a world-class sprinter. He was an Olympic champ, a sprinter. And they were high on him because he was a local guy. So they figured they could trade me to Pittsburgh and they'd make room for Ray Norton. Problem is, they forgot to ask Ray Norton if he could catch. He'd outrun everybody, but the ball hit him all in the head, bounced everywhere. Right? So they decided to cut him and call Pittsburgh and says, can we have the hammer back? And he said, no, the hammer's got a home here and this is where we're gonna stay. So I played 1 season with Pittsburgh. It's about doing what you do best. You don't let people control you, tell you what to do. You know in your heart what you can do. You don't let people tell you what you can or cannot do. You know better than anybody else what you can do. And I knew that I didn't know how to play the position, and the best way to do that is to stop anybody from getting past me. Then I don't have to cover you.
After playing with the Steelers, Williamson would get a call from Al Davis to join a new league. It was the Oakland Raiders of the American Football League that turned Fred Williamson into a star. All-star seasons, big hits, bigger attitude. They called him the Hammer, not just for the forearm shivers he delivered, but for the way he carried himself. Loud, proud, a man with presence.
But respect. Respect is the key to be a success. People have to respect you. If they don't respect you, you'll never be a success. Right. Because you're not motivated to go beyond yourself. And I've always been motivated to go beyond me. And it wasn't about money. It was about doing the best I can in whatever thing I endeavored myself to do to be the best of that.
Slaughter back to throw a pass. Looking downfield has Bob Scarpetto out there, and it is knocked away by Freddie Williamson. Good defensive effort by Freddie.
His fire came at a cost. After a heated incident in the Raiders' locker room, Al Davis made a move and traded Williamson. He was gone from Oakland, but not done yet. The Kansas City Chiefs picked him up, and Fred made it count. 3 seasons, a championship, and a game that would change football forever.
And I told him when he traded me, I said, you will be sorry. I will come back and I will haunt you. And every time Kansas City Chiefs play the Raiders, I'm gonna hurt somebody. And it really got to him because Kansas City went to the first Super Bowl. 20,000 people gave me a reaction. 10,000 booed, 10,000 cheered. That's okay. I mean, they were watching me.
Jets are in real good position to tie or go ahead. 1st and 10 from the KC 41-yard line. Namath pumping and looking and finding Don Maynard. A Jet first down to the Kansas City 27-yard line. The Jets 3rd down and 10, still at the Kansas City 22-yard line. Namath has thrown to Smolinski, incomplete. To Boozer, incomplete. Will he go back to Boozer? Will he go to Smolinski? Instead, here is Don Maynard looking for the forward pass, and it's just overthrown. Fine Kansas City coverage by Johnny Robinson and Fred Williamson.
outstanding defense, outstanding all day, provided Kansas City with its final scoring opportunity when Fred Williamson hit Glenn Bass, causing a fumble, and Bobby Hunt picked up the ball and returned it to the Bills' 21.
January 15th, 1967. The very first Super Bowl. It was the NFL versus the AFL, the Packers versus the Chiefs, champions of each league. Williamson made an impact on the field and left an impression, not just playing, but making history as the first team to play in the Super Bowl. The Packers would win, but still, there was a sense of honor.
It's called football. It ain't what it is today. Today it's tiddlywinks. I can't play today. As soon as I walk it on the field, they throw me out. Hammer, get off the field. Because they know what I'm going to do. So I'm playing for respect, you know. Do unto others before they do unto you, because after they do unto you, you may not be able to do back to them. That was my philosophy when I played football.
Adel goes to the air with a quick pass to Lance Allworth as the Californians move to the 19. On 1st and 10 at the Kansas City 39, Freddie steps back and lost a towering toss to the streaky Jim Coleclaw. But Fred Williamson performs the way a defensive back should, intercepting Freddie's pass on the 3.
Ended the season undefeated on the road, keeping their momentum intact with a big championship game with Buffalo. Final score, Kansas City 27, San Diego 17.
Money does not motivate me. What I stand for represents me. I represent something, and I'm not going against that representation. You can't go back. You can't destroy an image if you have one. Most of the brothers don't really care about that. They want the cash, they want the money, they don't really care. But, you know, once the money is gone, all you got left is you. And you can't sell that anymore if you're giving up that. When I do a film, I have 2 rules. One, you can't kill me in the movie, and one, I got to win all my fights. You go with that. If you don't like that, you don't get me, because I ain't coming. How can I explain to a brother on the street, man, who's a fan of mine, and say, man, you let that dude kick your butt? It ain't happening. It ain't happening. It never happened in life. When the hell should I let it happen on the screen when thousands of people are watching? I got bored. I couldn't sit behind a desk doing 9 to 5 and an hour for lunch. That just did not fit my character nor my personality. So one night I'm watching television. I saw Diane Carroll in a show called Julia. And I noticed that the guest star role was a new boyfriend. And I said, in my humble way, I'm better looking than those guys. I'm going to Hollywood and become Dan Kill's boyfriend. So I drive, and I'm watching the show, and I get the producer's name off their credits, and I drive. At that time, I'm living in Los Angeles. So I drive up to the gate of 20th Century Fox, and they said, what are you here for? I'm here to see Mr. Hal Cantor of the Julia Show. You got to drive on? I said, no, I don't have a permit. Well, you can't come on. I drive around, go to a phone booth, call back to the gate. This is Mr. Hal Cantor's office. Respecting Mr. Williamson. Would you learn one, please? And he said, oh, yeah, we just got a call on. He's in Bungalow 24. So I drove up to Bungalow 24, and I said, I'm here to see Mr. Hal Cantor. He said, do you have an appointment? No, just tell him the Hammer is here to see him. He gets on the phone, he says, football player? I said, yeah. Oh, yeah, come on in. And he says, why are you here? I said, I'm watching your show. And I see Diane Carroll has a new boyfriend. I said, that's not a good image for your star. She's got a new guy that she's sleeping with every week. I said, what kind of show is this? He said, you ever acted before? I said, what do you mean, man? I did Raisin and His Son, Common Jones, 5 years. He said, well, I like your attitude. I like your, well, what I got to lose? All you can do is say yeah or no, get out. He says, well, I like your attitude. We'll write a show for you. So he wrote a show for me called Dancer in the Dark. That was the episode, Dancer in the Dark. After the show, they signed me to a 3-year contract. I was Diane Kell's boyfriend for 3 years on the Julia Show.
And just like that, Fred Williamson reinvented himself. From football warrior to film star, leading man, producer, director, a symbol of strength and style in the blaxploitation era. He didn't ask for roles. He took them. He made his own. Black Caesar, Hammer, 3 the hard way. Fred wasn't just acting, he was building a legacy.
I'm taking no acting classes now, because they had been missing a market. There weren't any blacks starring in movies at that time, you know? There were heroes, there were butt kickers, and who won the fight in New York, in Chicago. Many people were around the block to see this movie. Now, what that did, it showed Hollywood that they had been missing a market. They weren't not satisfying the black audiences with the films that they were making. I got into the business of being a hero.
Through it all, Fred Williamson stayed true to himself. Bold, unapologetic, a real one. He walked into 2 industries where black men had to fight for respect, and he owned both. The Hammer didn't just play the game, he changed it. On the field, on the screen, in the culture. Fred Williamson, athlete, actor, icon. Some men chase fame, others become it. Fred Williamson was always the star. All he needed was the stage.
So when I had a fight, I made sure I had a good fight. So the anger was in them, not me. Acting is like anything else that I've ever gone into. I go into it to be the best. And if I can't be the best, then I don't want any part of it. I don't just intend to be another actor. I intend to be the best actor. And that is my goal. How it is with each other, and so we get along great.
What would make Fred Williamson controversial?
He's very outspoken. He says what he feels, and he does what he feels, and he says what he thinks. And this always frightens people. People misconstrue what you say, and they misunderstand what you say, and they're always looking for some idealistic thing behind what you say. But, you know, I'm just saying what I feel and what I mean. This is automatically controversial. Do whatever you want, whatever you feel like, and as many times as you want to. Do it.
How'd you get into the movies from Pro Bowl?
Well, actually, I was an architect when I left Pro Bowl, and I didn't dig working 9 to 5, you know. I wanted to get into something loose and free. And one night I was watching television, and I was watching the Julia Show, and I said, what they need is a cat that's tall, dark, and handsome to play her boyfriend, right? And so I packed up my things, and I went to California.